this candlestick right here is an example of a hanging man candlestick. In this video, we are going to take a look at what they look like and why they are important in trading. So yeah guys, without further ado, let's get started right away here. Right, so first of all, let's jump into Paint here and take a look at the basics. So the hanging man pattern. Well, we can start off by taking a look at how the hanging man pattern looks like and how we can identify it. So first of all, the hanging man has a small real body, and then it has a long lower shadow. So we can actually write that one down. So first of all, it has a small real body, and this part right here is what we call the real body. And by the way, if you want to learn more about the Japanese candlestick terminology and the basics, I have a video about that and we'll link it up in the corner in the eye. Another thing you may notice here is that the hanging man candlestick looks pretty much exactly like the hammer. But the hammer is another thing that I also have a video about, and we'll link that video up in the corner as well. So if you want to learn about the hammer pattern, I have a video about that. But yeah, back to the hanging man here. So we know that it has a small real body. Another criteria here is that the lower shadow, we want the lower shadow to be at least twice the length of the real body. And it is this part right here that is the lower shadow. So this part has to be more than, or at least than, twice the length of this part. And as you can see, that is true for our picture here. A third thing is that it should have no upper shadow, or at least if it has an upper shadow, the upper shadow should be very small. So we can say little to no upper shadow. And I think this is the basics of how the candle looks like. Now let's take a look at why it is important and when it actually matters that we see a hanging man pattern on the chart. A very important thing here is that the pattern only occurs after an uptrend. So if we have an uptrend here, we have some strong green candles, and then we have a beautiful hanging man here. In this case, we actually consider it a valid hanging man. But if you, for example, have a downtrend right here, and in this downtrend we see a hanging man, in this case, this is not a hanging man anymore. This is what we call a hammer. So it matters if the trend is upward or if the trend is downward. It is only after a price increase that the hanging man occurs. So in this case, it's called a hammer. And only in this case, it's called a hanging man. And what does the hanging man tell us? Well, it is a potential reversal of the price action. But we need to be careful here. So I added a little note here that says, as always, we want as many variables as possible in our favor to actually trade. So to trade only by seeing a hanging man is a very risky move. Oftentimes we want to combine it with other kinds of technical data, for example, support and even accelerators and the context in which the hanging man occurs. So now I think it's time to take a look at what makes a hanging man strong and what makes it more weak, what makes it weaker. So we can write here, the hanging man becomes stronger, first of all, after an extended rally. So the more powerful and the more clear the rally we have before the hanging man occurs, the more strong the hanging man becomes. And also in a best case scenario, the best case scenario here could be that the hanging man actually occurs on an all-time high. The hanging man also becomes stronger if we get a confirmation. So if we have a rally here, we see that the hanging man appears. Many times it's not clever to trade this right away. Before we take the trade, we often want to see a confirmation of the reversal. And a confirmation could be, for example, that the price opens below the real body of the hanging man. By opening below the real body, all buyers that bought either in the opening of the previous day or on the close of the previous day are losing money. So we can say that the buyers from the previous day in this case is left hanging, just like the hanging man, if you get it. Yeah, so a confirmation pretty much makes the pattern stronger. Some other things that makes the pattern stronger is longer lower shadow. So if the lower shadow here, if this shadow right here, oops, should be red. If this shadow right here would be longer, the pattern would be stronger. Also, if the real body is smaller, so a smaller real body also makes the pattern stronger. We can also include that we want short upper shadows. So preferably we want no shadow at all on the top. But alright guys, I think we are now ready to take a look at some examples, some real life examples. And before doing that, I just want to make clear that everything in this video is for educational purposes only, and nothing should be taken as any kind of financial advice. So we can start by taking a look at a stock right here. This stock is Nvidia, a big tech company in the US. As we saw in the beginning, we see that we have a hanging man pattern right here. And why is this a hanging man pattern? Well, we see that it occurred after a rally right here. And that is a must in order for it to be a valid hanging man. We also saw that after the hanging man here, we got a confirmation of the move. The next day, every candle here is 1 day. The next day, the price opened at a lower price. The price opened under the real body of the hanging man, and it closed even more down. So that is a confirmation of the pattern. This might not have been a perfect example because, well, we saw a decline after this, but this wasn't a major decline here. But nevertheless, the hanging man indicated that the force of the bulls, the force to the upside, were slowing down, and we actually got a short correction here. Let's take a look at one more stock. All right, so now we are looking at Activision Blizzard, a gaming company in the US. And as we can see here, we had a strong upward trend here. The stock were trending upwards. But the uptrend actually ended here with a pattern I think you are familiar with right now. It ended with a hanging man pattern. As you can see, in this case, we have a little upper shadow, as you can see right here. But the shadow is so small compared to the whole candle structure that we can still, in my opinion, consider this as a hanging man. So this hanging man indicated that the price might reverse here. And another thing that made this candle more significant was that it actually appeared at an all-time high. We can actually scroll out and see that this candle right here appeared at an all-time high. So that was very good and indicated that the price might reverse. And what did we see here? Well, we saw a downwards movement, but then it went up to an all-time high again with a pattern that is not really a hanging man, but it still shows hesitation. But after that, we got our correction. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it for this video. If you found any help or value out of it, please consider dropping a like. And if you guys want to see more videos similar to this one, please don't hesitate to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Also, please leave a comment down below if you have any questions regarding the video, or if you want to suggest what you want me to do next. But yeah, guys, for now, take care and ciao ciao.